All right, today we've got a bourbon from Scotland. Nope, Scotch from Bourbon land. I don't know. Let's just hang on. We'll figure it out together. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to Happy Hour. Today I've got Glenfiddich 14. It's a pretty interesting whiskey, Scotch whiskey, as far as I'm concerned. Hopefully you'll agree, and maybe you want to check out a bottle yourself. So the Glenfiddich 14 is I believe it's a standard offering now. It has been for several years. I picked this up not that long ago. You can probably tell I've enjoyed it, but it's kind of an interesting, they've gone through kind of an interesting maturation process with this. It's 14 years old, aged 14 years in ex-bourbon barrels, right? So that's kind of standard, ex-bourbon barrels for Scotch. That's cool. But then they finish it off in New American charred oak. So basically kind of New American barrels that you would normally age bourbon in. So there is some kind of some interesting bourbony notes here. So from what I understand, this is unfortunately for you guys over across the pond. I don't think this is available in other than in the US. It's an American release. And I kind of get the idea behind it. It's Glenfiddich's, one of their ways to maybe try to get us, quote unquote, American bourbon drinkers a little bit more into the Scotch side of things, because there are really some interesting bourbon notes, and that new oak finishing really does give it some bourbon-esque tastes and smells. So yeah, let's give it a try. Ooh, that was a good one. All right, so 14-year-old single malt again. 14 years in ex-bourbon barrels, and then finished off in New American oak casks. So right out of the gate, I get some bourbon hints right out of the note. Like there's the kind of the vanillas and I get oak. I can get almost a little bit of the charred. I don't know if it's because I know they finished it in new oak barrels, but I can almost smell a bit of char. Kind of the charred oak you get, that bite you get from most good bourbons. But it's undeniably a single malt Scotch. There's a lot of the underlying maltiness and sweetness, kind of like the standard Glenfiddichs or really a lot of other Highlands and Speysides. There's that kind of honey and honeysuckle, honey flavors, a little bit of fruit, maybe that apple, that kind of maltiness, apple cidery notes. But yeah, lots of vanilla and lots of oak. It's really nice. It's really good. So this is 43%, bottled at 43%, so not too bad. Let's give it a taste. Yeah, I remember really liking it. Duh, right? This was about 2 nights worth, so I obviously really did like it. Yeah, it's got a little bit of sharpness to it, kind of like a bourbon. Even though it's not that high proofed, on a lot of the nicer bourbons I've tried, they are mostly higher proof, but there's still that kind of new oak, a little bit of bite to it. But other than that, I get the vanilla and the honeys and a little bit of citrus. It's a nice single malt with kind of a bourbony edge to it. It's really good. I would, again, I almost sound like a little bit of a broken record because most of the whiskeys I ended up buying and reviewing here, I really like and end up rating pretty high. But at the same time, do I really want to buy a crappy whiskey just so I can rate it low? Of course not, right? So I've been pretty lucky and diligent in my research of what I bought. And again, I would rate this. This is a good 8 out of 10. I would recommend this to anyone, just Scotch drinkers in general. If you like the kind of bourbon matured whiskey, single malts in general. But I'd also recommend it to bourbon drinkers. Maybe, there's a lot of folks out there, obviously in the U.S. that haven't maybe ventured into the single malts that much. I think this would be actually a great gateway drug for that because there is bourbon-esque flavors and on the nose that you may like and familiarize yourself, but also get you into the kind of the varying flavors and nuances that I think good single malt scotches really do a good job at. So, yeah, I'm really happy with this. So yeah, definitely recommend this. Oh, last thing I should say here, again, sorry for you folks over the pond. If you can grab it, you'd probably have to purchase it in the US. I don't know how that would work, but here at my local liquor store, this is $50. So $49.99, $50 at a Benny's. I think for a 14-year-old whiskey, and especially something that's doing something a little bit unique, I think it's well worth the money. So 8 out of 10, 2 thumbs up. I would definitely recommend giving it a try and enjoy. I'm going to finish off the rest of this evening and see you guys next time. If you like, please click like. If you'd like to subscribe, I'd appreciate that too. Stick around. We got some more fun videos coming down the pipe, and cheers.